A few years back, Visual Studio introduced the idea of code snippets. Snippets are small sections of code that can be automatically generated and inserted into your code. They show up in IntelliSense and are customizable. For this demonstration, I'm using a solution called Using Code Snippets that has several projects. I'll start by opening this middle project using CS code snippets and then opening this program.cs file. Our first stop is to look at the Code Snippets Management tool. It lives inside the Tools menu at this location, the Code Snippets Manager. This dialog shows all of the installed snippets. You pick a language, let's say C#, and it shows you all of the C# code snippets. There's one for ASP.NET MVC 4, something called the MVC Action 4. There's ones for Office. Here's one for bolding a range or creating a table. There's also ones for CSS and HTML. Let's look at the CSS ones. Here's one called Font Face and Media Query. You can add your own snippets to this library. I'm going to add a snippet library that I created in this custom snippet example. I'll click on Import, open up my exercise files, grab this tour class.snippet file and click Open. Then I get to pick where to place this item inside the snippet folders. I'll pick the default and then click on Finish. Now that I've imported my code snippet, I can find it here in My Code Snippets. There it is. I'll click on OK, and let's look at some of the C# snippets. Some of the snippets show up just as you're typing in code. For instance, if I type in the word if, this little symbol that looks like a piece of paper, that represents a code snippet. And it even says here in the tooltip, code snippet for an if statement. So if I hit the tab key twice, the first tab key dismisses the autocomplete dialog, and the second tab key stubs in the code snippet. Some of the code snippets have placeholders in them. For instance, if I type in for each and press the tab key twice, you'll see that there are some yellow highlights in here. I can press the tab key to move to the highlights and then edit the value that's in there. For each file, in files, something like that. If you want to see the list of code snippets that are available, use this key combination, Control-K, Control-X. I'll try that one. Now you see this pop up that says Insert Snippet, and now you can use your mouse to drill in and look for things like Office Development, Word, Formatting. Let's choose Bold Range, and then that inserts this bit of code. And again, you see there's some yellow areas in this code snippet too. I'll use the tab key to move back and forth. I'll delete that and move over to my VB section and open up Module 1. Over here, you use the question mark to see the code snippets. So I'll type in question mark and then the tab key, and I get the same dialog. It's the same code snippets. There's a VB-specific version of the Office Development ones and a C#-specific version. This one's using cint to convert the toggle to a bold. It also works in CSS. I have the sample style sheet.css file here. I'll type in @ press the tab key twice, and this is what was stubbed in for me. Font face, font family, an SRC for local. This allows me to download a font family to the user's computer from the style sheet. Let me try another one. I'll type in @media and press tab. Now let's say you want to reuse some of your own code. So I'm going to go back to program.cs, and I'm going to write a little bit of code here. var x equal new book. Let's say that I want to reuse this code. There's a couple ways I can reuse this code. I can create a code snippet, and I'll show you how to do that in about 10 seconds. But the other way you can do it, if you don't want to go to that bother, is you can go to your toolbox and drag this code over and drop it on one of the tabs in the toolbox. Now later, when you need that code, you can come back to the toolbox and drag that over to your source code window to stub in that code. It's a very simplistic way of doing it. If you want a more sophisticated way of doing it, use the code snippets. So over here in this code snippet example, I have my own custom code snippet, tourclass.snippet. This is really nothing more than an XML file. When you create a snippet, you provide 4 sections: properties such as title and description, You must also provide a reference list of what assemblies are necessary for your code snippet. Then you define your code. In this case, I said I want a C# code section, so it knows it can only be used in the C# code editor. Here you can see I'm using the C data section in my XML to define the code. There's a comment and a public class and a constructor and so on. Now that I've created the snippet, you import it into the application, and then you can go over to program.cs, type in TCC, press the tab key twice, and there's my tour class. Now, where did the TCC come from? Up here. I created a shortcut. It's a bit tedious to create your snippets this way, so there are some other tools available in the extensions and updates. If you go here and look online and search for the word snippet, you'll see there's several snippet tools like Snippet Designer and WPF Client Snippets and some other ones in here. I encourage you to check those out if you want to write your own custom snippets. As you have seen, code snippets are incredibly useful, and they can be easy to create with the right tool. Have fun exploring what you can do with code snippets.